Welcome everyone to the Mastering the Mind podcast gaming format episode 4. We had a blast on the previous one. We ended with a really cool goal. And yeah.
And we're straight into recording the Rocket League podcast straight after the original podcast about mindset. So we're fresh off the topic and excited to talk further about it, sort of as like a bonus episode.
Yeah, so as usual, we've prepared each other some questions, and then there's a special question from Oliver, or should I say Ollie, at the end of the episode. Go ahead.
Yes. So I'll go first because then we'll finish on one. So my first question is: are there any specific areas in your life where you feel you have a fixed mindset and you're actively now trying to transition into a growth mindset?
Jesus, that's a very good question. I would say, I think it depends. It comes in waves, you know what I mean? So it depends on the context and in the situation. So for example, I'll just take education. So university, as an example. If I'm doing well, if I'm receiving good grades, then I would have more of a tendency to adopt a growth mindset rather than having a fixed. Growth mindset rather than having a fixed. But when I'm doing bad, I tend to have like a fixed mindset and blame me as a person, and not being smart or things like this, rather than just blaming the process of me not putting enough effort in. If that makes sense.
That's something you need to work on.
Oh, 100%. I'm always the first guy to be so self-critical and and not have
blame your ability and natural talent, but like it's what you work for.
Yeah, and I think it's applicable to a lot of athletes, because perfectionism is a huge topic in sports, because athletes, like they can't afford to make mistakes, or the small mistakes can have such huge consequences. So that's why I think like growth mindset and mindset in general is just so important in sports. I feel
like a good strategy to like sort of combat that is like sort of positive self-talk maybe, and instill that maybe when you get a grade that you feel doesn't warrant how much work you put in for that assignment. So maybe just say like, well, yeah, like normally I know you, and you'll put like all the possible work you can put into an assignment. Like your work ethic is never faltered. But maybe go away instead of like blaming your natural talent of being smart. Maybe going away and maybe analysing your strategy and maybe learning from it, and not just blaming your natural tendency of. Like,
it's just like, you know, when you put in the work and the results don't come, then it's like, then what's the problem? Is it me the problem, or is it like I've clearly put all the effort in, so why hasn't it worked, you know? And I think a lot of people can resonate with this. That's when people start to adopt this fixed mindset and start blaming themselves for like not being successful. And I think a lot of what I said can be applicable to sports as well. I think if I'm scoring a lot of goals, then obviously growth mindset is adopted, like, and then if I'm not, then I'll adopt a fixed mindset and blame myself and my qualities and abilities, or inabilities, I would say. But yeah, what about yourself? How do you think it could be applied?
A question I was going to follow up on that from, because for me, I'm a strong believer in like if I want to achieve something, then I put the work in, and if I don't achieve something like a grade, then I'll have to revisit like my strategy. Like, did I come from it from the right angle? Like, surely something went wrong. So yeah, I'm a strong believer in hard work will achieve results in the end. So yeah. But my follow-up question was going to be, or are there any specific areas in your life where a growth mindset is very prevalent? So like you're always in like a growth mindset. Like, so do you feel like some skills, like, you're always gonna like master, and you're
Oh
working
yeah.
towards mastering?
Maybe like it's not really a skill, but like understanding people. Well, it is a skill.
Mm.
Understanding people and having that empathy. I think I feel like I'm quite good at that. Like when someone's talking to me, I'm actively listening and I'm showing them that I care, which I do care.
Yeah,
Like people skills. I think I feel like I'm quite good at, you know. So
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure I'd have like a growth mindset for that.
That's cool.
What
Yeah.
and what about yourself? Is there so yeah.
No, I mean, I feel like I sort of like I try to adopt a growth mindset in all aspects of my life, and I feel, yeah, like I said, I just feel if I work hard enough for something,
Mm.
then it will come.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a good
if you just
mindset to have actually. Um, but yeah.
okay.
Okay, I have a question for you now. So recently, Johnny Wilkinson went on the Performance podcast, which is great by the way. And his episode was actually quite philosophical and went quite deep. I don't know if you listened to it, but yeah, it went quite deep and it was really interesting to listen to him talk because the athletes are really talking that way.
Yeah,
Ex-athletes, so he clearly has an awareness of the importance of psychology and how mindset like impacted his career. And he
yeah,
talked about he basically he was able to kind of change mindset during his career. So rather than focusing on stress and pressure of performing, he tried to look at other aspects of performance. So what my
okay.
question is to you is, do you believe that is possible? Do athletes throughout their career, can they develop? Can their mindset change? Can they go from like a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, or do you think it's, do you know what I mean? Like longitudinally, do you think it works like that, or do you think it changes bit by bit,
I,
like within
I
the whole
think,
career?
yeah, I think they stay within a growth mindset throughout their career, but the goals of what they're trying to achieve change. I feel anyway. So, like, I'll just speak from my experience of being in football and analysing football. So, I'll just use an example of like Wayne Rooney. So, like, he used to be like energetic. He used to be a striker, like running in behind, and then he peaked and I reckon he had to sort of like change his mindset of how he perceives he should play football, and he dropped back
Hmm.
and like he sort of just had to change the way he plays football, and he maybe started to become more of a mentor. So maybe just their goals change a little bit, and they maintain that growth mindset.
Yeah, I think
What do you think?
yeah, I kind of resonate with that idea. It's like the older they get, the more experience they have had, and the more maturity they gain, like athletes gain. So in a sense, then their mindset naturally changes. I think
Mm,
because he obviously he was saying that, but he's retired now, so he's saying that he has perspective, you know. So
yeah.
he's more mature now. He's an older guy, so obviously he has that mindset. But when he was younger, I from what I
So
understood, he didn't really have that type of mindset of like appreciating, like, because he was a maniac at rugby. He loved rugby. It was his life, you know. So
yeah,
I think he regrets of not appreciating it more, because all he did
yeah,
was focus on performance and pressure, stress, and how to cope with it. I think he would have enjoyed his career more if he attended more, if he put his attention more to other aspects of it. Like I say, enjoying it.
yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
So maybe
So
rather than a shift of like mindset, because like from what you're telling me, he sounds like throughout his career he had like a sort of a growth mindset, but it went from more extrinsic motivation to more maybe internal motivation. So
yeah. Okay.
he sort of had an epiphany that he needs to like become more intrinsically motivation, and in turn he will have more enjoyment and enjoy the sport more,
Yeah.
which does
So
have correlations with growth and fixed mindsets. Definitely about enjoyment and how a growth mindset is more associated with intrinsic motivation and in turn enjoyment.
Yeah, because I think it had a huge impact on his career. Like I don't think he was enjoying playing, and in terms of his mental health, I don't think I'm not sure. Like I have to read his book. Apparently, his book explains it in more detail, but like
Yeah.
mentally, I don't think he was performing really well, which is like very unique from an athlete. He was performing so well, but inside he just didn't feel right. So I don't know.
Yeah. There's definitely like so many stories about that of like people performing so well, but then they're actually fighting so many demons, like
Yeah,
in their own head.
exactly.
That's more on the terms of like mental health, and that's definitely something we'll cover in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
Mental health in sports huge.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a good question, a good insight into like the professional element of mindset, and it was good that you shed light on that. So, why do you feel intrinsic motivation is so important when sustaining motivation?
Obviously, I kind of want to save what we're kind of because we love this topic, don't we? And we've talked about it a lot briefly in our episodes, but it's just what do I do I
If you
I want
talk
to
about it
save
from
it.
a growth mindset sort of area, not an SDT
Okay,
perspective.
okay. Um,
So I'll sort of like shed light. So based on a growth mindset and why you should like install that for the intrinsic motivation is for like the things that we suggested in the podcast about increased persistence, enjoyment,
yeah.
an increase in motivation, whereas a fixed mindset will have negative impacts on those things.
Mm,
And extrinsic motivation it's not always going to be there, whereas intrinsic motivation comes from within, so you're never really going to be short of it.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. Um, yeah, I think you covered that well. Yeah, intrinsic motivation is so important in so many different aspects. Like, I can't wait to talk about this in an episode because
Yeah,
it's literally one of my favorite topics that I learned this year, and
yeah,
it can apply to a lot of different areas of sports psych. So yeah,
yeah. We'll definitely cover that in a future episode then.
definitely.
Okay.
So okay, so we discussed some tips and tricks during the episode at the end that coaches can use and apply in their coaching style and in their coaching sessions. What was your favorite one out of the list we suggested, would you say?
Yes, I know we have similar ideas about this. So, like, my favourite is promoting the value of failure. I just feel like that's just so key, like for athletes and even people in general, to just accept that failure is something that's going to happen, and it's not a negative thing. It can be a really positive experience, and you can learn from it and grow and master
Yeah,
master the task at hand.
and when we kind of discussed this in the podcast that it's easy to fall in that trap because in our society everything is amplified so much. So when failure occurs, people just go over the top, and even for themselves, they perceive it as something so negative. Whereas it's literally natural. Like
Yeah,
all successful people have failed. We've seen it in films. We've seen it in like autobiographies. Like it's you know what I mean. Like it's just part of the process of getting there. You know. So.
yeah,
And even if you're not even looking to be successful and you're just happy where you are in life, like if it's fine, don't worry. Like success is it's part of it.
yeah.
So yeah.
So my next question is: are there actually any benefits you feel for extrinsic motivation?
Yeah, for sure. And topic again, yeah, we for sure. It's really good for the short term, so trying to push people to do whatever is needed. So for example, let's say exercise, motivate them to exercise. It's really good to to
That
get that,
initial bit of
yeah,
motivation.
the initial nudge to make them start exercising, but it's not effective on the long term, so it's not sustainable. Extrinsic
Yeah,
motivation, intrinsic motivation is much better. So you have to have the two, in my opinion. Having the two is good. And
yeah,
and you were saying, you can complete my my sentence now, but you were saying I remember you saying that athletes definitely have external motivation,
Yeah,
don't they?
I was about to say that on my notes here that like we keep pushing intrinsic motivation, and it's definitely really important. But I just don't think we like should kid ourselves that elite athletes are competitors. Like I think they are internally motivated because they love what they do and they love the sport. But they definitely have external motivation that will maybe push them to the next level. So external motivation can definitely, or extrinsic motivation can definitely be used as a tool. But for the most part, intrinsic motivation should be installed for exercise adherence and enjoyment.
For sure. Yeah, good question. Okay, I've got a final question for you. So it's kind of similar to one of your questions you asked me, but so you mentioned in the previous podcast episode that you worked in gardening, so
Yep.
you're helping your dad out with that. Do you think I want to hear about your experiences about do you have like this type of growth mindset or mindset when you're working in your gardening job? Because I know sometimes for you it's difficult to wake up early in the mornings and do all this physical work.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to hear about your experiences in
No.
terms of your mindset.
Yeah. I definitely. I'd say different part. Like, I won't like shy away from it. I genuinely just do it for earning money, whilst I'm at university, and sort of like keeping me afloat and helping me achieve my goals outside of university. Like, I'm wanting to like purchase a house and start that journey. So, yeah, I mean, I use extrinsic motivation, and it is unenjoyable. Like I don't enjoy gardening.
Yeah.
And the main reason is because it's extrinsic motivation. I feel I only do it for the money, and that source of motivation isn't always there, and I start not to care even about the money. It's so strange. But then when during like a nice summer's day,
Yeah.
like I start to like really enjoy gardening, and it's because the circumstances change, and I'm starting to enjoy gardening because I'm outside, and I'm enjoying it. So like it changes like based on circumstances, but like I said, like intrinsic motivation is the drive for anything in terms of enjoyment and persistence. I feel like I've realised that through gardening.
Yeah, I appreciate your honesty there. Like, it's not everyone's gonna come out there and say that, but it makes sense because we know you're on a journey to be a successful sports psychologist. So yeah, it's
People have to do things that they don't want to do. That's life. So yeah, that's something that I don't want to do, but I do it.
Yeah. Right. For the ultimate
final question.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, based on this season, who do you think is going to be the winner of the Champions League and the Europa League, and why?
First two teams that come to mind are PSG and Bayern.
Okay.
I'd want to say PSG because obviously they reached the final last season and lost, and they haven't reached, well, before that they never managed to get onto, what was it, semi-finals. They could never go beyond the semi-finals. Was that it, or quarters?
Yeah, I think it was like quarters. Obviously, they got to the final last year, but yeah, I think it was the quarters.
Yeah, quarterfinal. Yeah, quarter. So I'd be super happy if they won it. Like, why not?
Yeah.
And I think they can. Mbappe is doing well right now. Keane is looking really exciting. And they have like a lot of good players on the bench as well that can help out. Yeah, I like it. I like it to change. Like that German, like, what is it, like train? What do they call it? Like it's just they're so good, you know. Like last year they were too good, and I just want another winner. So for me, PSG. What about you?
As much as I hate to, I think we're in like a bit of a like sticky spot in Europe where a lot of the giants aren't doing as well in their like domestic leagues. Like Real Madrid, Barca aren't the giants they used to be. They're having awful seasons. I mean, Atletico are only doing well because Real Madrid and Barca aren't doing well.
Yep.
And Juventus again, like they're not doing great. So Messi and Ronaldo are really out of the question. So, as much as I hate to say it, I think it's Man City's year.
Yeah, I forgot about them actually.
Like
it could be cool.
They're doing unbelievable in the Prem. Like they are popping off, and yeah, I just feel like they've got it this year.
But
PSG do come close.
It's just because of the. Like they didn't perform in the previous seasons in Champions League. Well, they did, but when it was necessary, it's like they just choke it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But you could say that with PSG as well. But yeah, it's really Man City could be a shout actually.
Yeah, I just think because of the current state in Europe of the Giants not doing well.
Yep.
It's a toss up between the three that we mentioned, I think.
And Europa League, Tottenham, why not? Tottenham, but I really want Man U doing it, obviously, and their performance last night was top class. So I don't see why they couldn't win it. You know, there's beatable teams.
Last night was the 4-0 win over Real Sociedad.
Yep.
Away from home.
Yeah. So I don't see why they couldn't win it.
I think it's a really important season for both Oli and like Jose Mourinho. They both need to bring silverware in, and this is like a huge competition for both of them. I don't think Arsenal have got it. They're too inconsistent.
AC Milan, though, shout. You've got Ibra, experienced guy. He knows the. Yeah, they're doing well as well.
They're doing well in Syria. So yeah, they're a good shout.
I think they'll definitely reach the final stage of the competition for sure.
I just feel like when I look at the remaining teams, there's been some like weird results. I just don't see why Man U couldn't beat all the other teams on our day.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I hope we can pull it off.
Okay, we found some common ground finally.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool.
It was good. Yeah, I think now's a good time to kind of wrap it up. Games finishing as well, so perfect timing.
Yeah. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this format again. Any other topics you want us to cover, let us know, drop it down in the comments. Share it to your friends if they'd like this format or like the topic that we discussed. We'll be happy to answer any questions you have as well. So yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you guys, see you next one.
Cheers.
Oh wait, the winner? No. See you, bye.